I'm gonna be so dead ass, bro. Some men have bad mental health because they deserve it. Some of y'all got bad mental health because you worked for it. Like, you earned that shit. I am mostly talking to the straight guys when I say this. Some of y'all are, I don't know, bad people. Like, you're bad people and you surround yourself with bad people, and like, that's why you're sad. And some of y'all romanticize men being like depressed or wanting to unalive themselves, but you don't care about healing at all. You just want people to forgive you for having poor mental health or like treating people like shit, but not do anything about it. Not only do a lot of y'all hate women, right? You date women, you're attracted to them, but you fucking hate them, right? You hate men too, like a lot. You police other men's masculinity. You dehumanize men. You make them feel lesser than. You make them feel like they're not enough, because that's what guys do to you. And so you're just participating in the fucking circus. Like, you are the fucking problem. So before you put all of that fucking work on women to make you feel better as a man, maybe just do some reflecting. Honestly, stop taking this being a man shit so serious. Like, it's harming the rest of the world. I'm gonna be so dead ass, bro. This shit is not that deep. Like, treat yourself better. Treat other guys better. Please treat women better. You will free yourself from so much bullshit that you have been volunteering for years. And it will feel, you'll feel
the depression. You feel like nobody's there, despite my family being so close, and they're willing to do whatever. But when you're in that headspace and you're in that dark spot, you feel alone. You feel like nobody's there, nobody cares. For whatever reason, God looked down on me and gave me a second shot at this thing. I promise you, there's somebody out there in your life that loves you and that will support you and will help you get out of that situation.
The world. Everything I did was on a microscope. Everything I did, wrong, right, or indifferent. The Dwight Howard cried on TV, right? They called the soft. What the he was going through on the inside, he had to hold on to where he cried in front of 20 million people. How about somebody ask that question?
And it's funny, and it's actually hilarious, because out of all the things I posted that day, that was the one post that everyone chose to see. It just goes back to the way our world is and works. I'm not here to complain about it. I just exist.
And all I wanted to do was play basketball. Every time they said something up about me, I was in the gym playing basketball. Every time they said I got pulled over with a bag of weed, every time somebody lied on me about something, I was in everybody. That's how I feel.
And that goes back to the importance of self-love. Like, who cares what ESPN says or anyone says? Like, I love myself, I love my family, I love my friends, I love playing basketball. I'm grateful to do it every day. That's going to come with being one of the top players. History has shown you can be the best teammate ever, and someone's still going to say something negative about what you're doing and how you approach your life, and that can't be the importance, you know.
And I sit there and I work 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 and I put hours in, I put hours in, I put hours in, and I watch everybody else make their own narrative. We didn't get this when I was young. They told us to shut the fuck up.
If you allow that to infiltrate or get you emotionally invested or respond emotionally, you're going to be right where they want you to be. So, you know, I kind of expect that at this point, for everybody to say things like that. And I'm going to keep on smiling and doing me. You know, I'm happy where I am, and, you know, that comes with it, I guess.
Men's Mental Health Awareness Month on Gay Pride Month has mastered their craft, because the male loneliness epidemic is our reward for centuries of homophobia. The two things are forever linked. Nobody supports men's mental health, because holding up the next man is gay, right? You can see it even as young as kids like 6, 7, 8 years old. I do a lot of mentorship, right? They are absolutely terrified to be caught by their peers doing anything that's associated with femininity, even things like gentleness, kindness, thoughtfulness, right? Under fear of being called gay or not manly enough. And this thought process only gets more warped and twisted the older they get. Liking women too much is considered gay. If I was to get on this app right here and start talking about, I love women so much, the way they smell, the way they look, the way they talk, the way they act, that's how I feel about it. But if I were to make a 5-minute video about it, right, what are people going to call me? Soft, panderer, beta male, a lesser man, gay. Now, homophobia at this point has created a vacuum where men can only fill it with things like loneliness, isolation, hypermasculinity, hypersexuality. Why is that? Because the only straight way to show affection is with a romantic partner. And this typically creates two realities. Either one, you end up burdening the other person with the entirety of your mental and emotional well-being, right? Or two, because you've cut off these thoughts and feelings for so long, you're unable to emotionally express yourself. I get so irritable sometimes when people be like, oh, men are better friends than women. We don't be falling out over nothing. We should. We need to fall out about more. Only spaces you can show affection to another man in are sports and music, right? Like, if I were to say, oh, my best friend is 6 years, I haven't seen him in a month, man, I can't wait to see him later on tonight, that would be quite queer of me. but if I were to say, oh, I can't wait to see Gunna in concert later on tonight, that's totally socially acceptable. Like, I used to be a college athlete. One of my friends is a wide receiver at UCLA, and we walk around campus one day, and people are coming up just, oh my gosh, bro, you went crazy last night, you so and it's an audience primarily of men showing love and affection because it's within the context of sports, and that's socially acceptable. As soon as that context is removed, so is the love and affection, right? And I think that's why so many people turn into absolute burnouts as soon as their sporting careers are over. Going from experiencing camaraderie, affection, kindness every single day between your teammates and your general community to just zero in day-to-day life is jarring, bro. The average man can name an obscure comment they received platonically 3 years ago because it's so rare that they receive one. You've ever just been outside with a woman, you know their reality is completely different. They're constantly being showered with comments and giving them, right? I love your hair, I love your glasses, I love your eyes, I love your smile, right? And I think sometimes this can create a twinge of jealousy that you see a lot, especially on the internet, right? Where people feel like, oh, women's lives are so much easier. No, the biggest difference is that as a straight man, it's not enough to just be straight. You have to prove you're straight every single day. That is not natural. I'm not here to smut nobody to be like men are trash, because I understand most of us are doing our best. We just trapped in a system that wasn't founded by us. But at any given time, you can really walk out that cage, bro. There are no locks, there are no guards. You know what I'm saying? There's no shackles. And I'm just giving free game that was given to me.
So being that June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, let's talk about one of the main reasons, the number one reasons why men don't seek treatment. And of course, if you're new here, I'm actually a person who's been clinically diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. And I've been in therapy for 7 years. The number one reason, from speaking to a lot of men in my coaching sessions, is embarrassment. A lot of men are embarrassed to feel like that there's something going on inside of their heads. They're embarrassed. They feel like there's something wrong with them. They're embarrassed about the possibility of sharing and being vulnerable with somebody about their mental health. Because in a society nowadays where it's viewed as masculine to just shut off all your feelings and just be angry and beat on your chest and go, butcher a cow and eat a bloody steak to deal with your mental health issues and deal with your feelings, it's embarrassing to want to go sit inside a therapist's office and just say, hey, look, I feel like I'm different. It's embarrassing to feel like you're not as mentally strong as other people, even though other people probably need to go get help, but they refuse to. And they just beat on their chest and just to make it seem like everything is okay. So many people have this archetype of a masculine, strong alpha male being somebody that doesn't seek help, that bottles up everything and only expresses rage. Like anger is anger and rage, they mask as passion. I'm not angry, I'm just passionate. You seem angry, you seem ragey and stuff like that. You seem like you're out of control. You seem like you can't take criticism. It seems like you don't process your emotions correctly. It's just passion. I'm telling you, rah! That's how people, that's not frowned upon. That's actually seems like it's more socially accepted nowadays than somebody going to sit inside a therapist's office and seeking help. When I first sought help, I was embarrassed about it, y'all. I didn't post anything about it online. I posted like, hey guys, I'm going to talk to somebody today because I feel different. It wasn't, hey guys, I've been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder and I have I'm clinically depressed and have general anxiety disorder. I didn't post that. I talk about it nowadays because I'm more comfortable. I don't care what people think about it. But back in the day, I just felt like I was so embarrassed to say that out loud. But seeking help is the best thing that I've ever done in my life. And I'm serious about that. Like nothing, like my life is so much better because I sought out help, because I, went behind closed doors and have been vulnerable with my therapist and expressed myself behind closed doors. It's helped me to express myself in real life better as well. It's helped me deal with my rage issues and help me not bottle up my anger and express my emotions in a healthy way. A lot of people, particularly men in these situations, tend to try to blame women for their mental health issues. Well, the reason that men's mental health is so bad because women use their mental health issues against them. Y'all. It ain't your girlfriend's fault that you just met 4 months ago that you have mental health issues. It's not feasible, y'all. Let's keep it hot. Now, are there women out there who
June has been Men's Mental Health Month. Respect that. Good. I'm glad you brought it up because I actually have a few things to say. First of all, do you know that you can wipe your ass and chew gum at the same time? I know some of you simple-minded folks out there have a hard time multitasking, but as for me, I can celebrate Pride and appreciate Men's Mental Health Awareness Month at the same time. Second of all, what have you done for men's mental health? Go ahead. I'll wait. I'm curious. How many men's shelters have you volunteered at? How many charities have you donated to? How many benefits have you thrown? See, because as for me, I just 2 days ago used my platform of 1.6 million people to make a video talking about my struggle with masculinity and the way that I strive to become a better man, to make it a better world for men everywhere. And I will continue to use my voice to alleviate the burden of masculinity that men all over have placed on other men, causing them to even need a Men's Mental Health Awareness Month in the first place. So when scummy leeches come on my page to police what I say and what I celebrate when they have done nothing to contribute to the good of men's mental health, to use that as some sort of scapegoat for your bigotry and homophobia, you can get fucked.
The happiest dude in the room, ask him how he's doing, for real. A lot of people don't ask me because to the point that I'm always happy, I'm laughing, I'm bush, always brightening everyone else's day. His day must be fine because he's brightening everybody else's life. I would say that's not a fact. That person that brightens other people's lives, they're just good at brightening people's day. And they still have issues.
My first suicide attempt was because I couldn't find another way out. And maybe people will think that that's weak. Maybe they think that it's the easy way out. Maybe they think that I should have just asked for help, but I did. I was 18. I had a month left of school, a week before valedictory, but I couldn't see that far. I couldn't see that far anymore. I could not find any type of hope. It wasn't an easy way out. It was the only way out. That day, I woke up and I tried everything else. It wasn't my first option. It wasn't my second. It wasn't my third. I was in a hole and I couldn't think of anything else to do. Robin Williams said suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And a few years later, he had the same issue. People think that you're losing your mind, but they also think that there's many options. They think that you're thinking rationally, so you should have thought about something else to do. But you don't have hope in that moment. There's nothing else that you think can work. No human being does everything that is antithetical to the human condition, which is to survive. People think that you are a coward. But when you step on that ledge, you're scared. It's not easy to get there. And even when you're looking down, you still feel like you don't want to do it. But you do it because there's no other option in that moment. And I was looking for a way for me to stop, and I couldn't find one. Luckily, it didn't work. I just messed up my body and I had to walk in crutches. My ribs broken. And I still wrote finals. But I was so ashamed to tell anybody what had actually happened. So I just said that I got into a car accident. Because that was easier to live down than people thinking that I was weak. Because everyone thinks that you're weak. And that's not true. It's not the easy way out. So stop telling us that it is. Because in that moment, it feels like the only way out.
Have you ever thought about a therapist, bro?
Fuck I need that for?
What you mean? We all need a therapist. We already need somebody to talk to, bro. You just told me through this interview I could hear you feel some type of way about your pops and everything, bro. Why wouldn't you? You could.
That shit get released in the music.
Oh, so that's
what I was saying. That's why I said that's my therapy.
therapy.
You gotta hear me. That's why I keep saying, like, when listen to my music, you just hear me.
And that's enough for you. So you don't feel like
I just want a motherfucker tell me about my problem.
You have to leave the studio or the booth sometimes. You can't spend all day in there. So is that actually your therapy, right? And unshockingly, this is how a lot of young folks, especially in part of my community, this is how they feel about therapy. They think when somebody tells you or asks you about therapy, it's immediately an insult. That's why he's just like, why the hell I need that for? You know what I'm saying? As someone who's been clinically diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, that's been in psychotherapy for almost 9 years, I can tell you it's the best decision I've ever made in my life. Because you get people, like the young man right there, he said, the music is my therapy. It'll come out in the music. Some other people say, I go to the gym for therapy. I go running for therapy. Yeah, that's not therapy. It can feel therapeutic, right? You feel like you're getting a release, but where is it? It actually is not going anywhere. You can't spend all day in the studio. You can't spend all day in the gym. You have to go home sometimes. And then what do you do, right? What do you do when those feelings or the anger or the resentment bubbles up inside of you? What do you do with it? That's what therapy does. It gives you the tools to deal with it. It gave me the tools to deal with certain things that trigger me, having a personality disorder, right? That the gym can't do. Like I go to the gym, I do that type of stuff right there, right? But I also include therapy into that, right? You get other people that say, I just go to church. Yeah, faith without works is dead. You still got to put the work in. God ain't gonna lift you up off the couch and put you in the first pew. You got to get your ass up and do it yourself, right? What happens if you're getting angry with somebody face to face? You start write the song in front of them. I'm really angry right now. I'm gonna write a song real quick. No, you can't do that. So that's what therapy helps with, y'all. I'm just dead serious. I know it doesn't seem like therapy doesn't seem cool and there's a stigma attached to it. If you go to therapy, you're fucked up or you're crazy or something like that. No. I promise you, it helps out so much, man. Seriously. There are so many young people. I say young people that are in jail right now because they not that young man right there, right? But there's so many young people that are in jail right now that wish they would have went to therapy when they were older. Go watch some of these interviews, like behind the bars, behind the walls interviews. Man, I wish I would have got therapy when I was younger. When I was younger, though, I thought it was stupid. I thought it was dumb. I thought it was just right. You see what I'm saying? And he ended with the last statement he said, how the fuck is somebody gonna tell me about my problems? You can't tell yourself about your problems because we're afraid to actually deal with them. We are the worst critics of ourselves. We help ourselves out the least, right? We can get somebody else good information, but we take information from ourselves the worst. I don't know who the original interviewer was, so if y'all can find that and tag it, I'll just give credit to work.
All right, so look, you know what's not being talked about enough right now? The working man is dying in silence. Not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. We are tired. We are living in a day and age where a man can work 40, 50, 60 hours in a week and still be broke, still struggling to pay the rent, still choosing between gas in the car and food on the table. And yet, this society looks down on the working man like he is not doing enough. He's not grinding hard enough. It's crazy because at one point in time, the working man used to be the backbone of this country. The builders, the laborers, the truckers, the cooks, the janitors, the service workers, etc. The everyday man who keeps society running. But now, we're invisible. We're disposable. We are replaceable. And what makes this whole thing worse is that all of this is starting to make men crack mentally. All this pressure is starting to make men crack mentally because we've been told all of our lives to man up, to be a real man, and a real man provides. And we carry that pressure into every job, every relationship, and every bill that needs to get paid. So my question is, how long can a man be a man when the system is designed to crush him? This economy is inflated to the point of insanity. The cost of living is skyrocketing while our wages are flatlined. Overtime don't cut it, side hustles don't cut it. So essentially, we are chasing a moving target while being blamed for falling behind. And while we're out here working ourselves to the bone, while we are out here working ourselves to the point of burnout, they are telling us just to work harder. But nobody asks how we are holding up mentally. Nobody asks if we are okay. But the truth is, men are out here battling depression, battling anxiety, battling addiction, battling loneliness. But most of the time, we just stay quiet about it. Because when a man speaks up about his pain, the society tells him to suck it up, to be a man. They shame him. They emasculate him. So we shut down, and we internalize this struggle. We suffer in silence. That's why men's self-unaliving rates are rising. That's why so many men are checking out mentally. Men are starting to become more emotionally detached from their jobs, more emotionally detached from their families, and more detached from their own lives. But you won't hear about this on the news. You won't hear about any mental health campaigns for the broke working man. You won't see GoFundMe pages for men's therapy. Because the truth is, nobody cares until it's too late. Men are giving up. And it's not because we're weak. It's because we are exhausted. We are tired of performing in a rigged system where it is never enough, where there's never enough work, where the effort we put forth is never enough. We are tired of trying to pretend like everything is okay when we know that it is not.
It's hard out here for the providers. And it's not just financial, it's emotional. You come home after a long shift, drained, tired, and still knowing that the bills are unpaid. And then once you get into your household, you are told that you are not a real man because you can't afford a lifestyle that's become unreachable. And this eats at a man's soul. You work hard, you sacrifice, you give everything you got, and it's still not enough to be respected in this society. And now, the robots are coming. We got automation, AI, self-checkout lanes, and food delivery drones. This is not a conspiracy. All this stuff is happening in real time. The very jobs that kept the working man afloat are being erased now. They are being taken by artificial intelligence. The future that they promised us, work hard, provide, and retire, that future does not seem to exist anymore. So what happens when a man is no longer needed? What happens to his mind when he is undervalued, when his voice is unheard, and his worth is judged by a broken paycheck? He breaks, but nobody sees it. Because men are trained to suffer in silence, till one day, it's too late. One day, he just stops showing up. He stops smiling. He stops fighting, and the world wonders why. You can't shame a man for trying to provide. You can't shame a man for failing to provide when he's trying in a system that is rigged against him. You can't emasculate a man who is giving everything that he has, a man who is trying. You can't shame him just because his efforts don't match up with this society's unrealistic expectations. The working man is not lazy. He is not weak. He is literally trying to survive in a system that is rigged against him. The truth is, men are drained. Men are tired mentally, physically, and spiritually. And we are starving. The working man is starving for respect and understanding. But we don't get flowers. We don't get appreciation. We don't get empathy. It seems that all we get is more bills and more judgment. And when we finally collapse, when the addiction takes over, when the depression takes over, when the self-unaliving headlines come up, then people want to act surprised. That's when people want to say, well, he seemed fine, but he wasn't fine. He was just quiet. Because it just seems like nobody listens till a man is gone.
Boys are neglected at adolescence.
And let's touch on that adolescence part, because I have young boys in my dance classes who honestly, when they're young, boys and girls are not very different. They touch on each other, they talk to each other, they talk about their feelings, they cry, they're emotionally intelligent, they pay attention to how others feel and think. And when they don't, it's usually around that 6, 7 age. It's usually around when they get to the 1st or 2nd grade and you tell them not to do something, or adults tell them that something is not okay. Because young boys will cry. I cried. For so long, I cried. I think I cried until I was like 10. And then one day my dad was like, yo, look, men don't cry. Men don't cry. And so I stuffed it deep down inside myself and I buried it deep. And one day you realize that like you have no longer any attachment to your emotions. You don't feel the same way you once felt because it's so buried so deep inside you that like, why would I ever act on my emotions? Everything is purely logical, because if you didn't act on your emotions, then the world is just a better place. When in reality, most people react with their emotions. They just aren't allowed a safe space to do it comfortably, right? And so you get aggressive teenage boys. You get suicidal teenage boys. You get people who don't know how to deal and process their emotions into adulthood. And so you get men, young men, who literally are taking their feelings and emotions out on teenage women, adult women, and they carry that on throughout their entire lives. It starts when people are young, and they grow into the types of people that you raise them to be. Please, take your babies into consideration. Ask a boy today, ask a young boy what they think about women, what they think about girls. And it's very different than what you might think. Check on your younger brothers, check on your siblings. I'm so serious.
As most of you guys will know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So in this video, I want to take the time to go back and explain why I do all this walking. Back in late 2023, I was on a phone call with one of my best friends discussing how we were going to get to the Euros after Scotland had just qualified. He flippantly suggested that I should just walk there, and what started as a throwaway comment turned into a movement when I decided to make it a reality and walked from Glasgow to Munich, all in the name of men's mental health. But why? Well, that friend was my best mate Struan, who back in 2019, Struan's dad Russell heartbreakingly took his own life. He was a proud dad of 2 incredible sons and a husband to the most amazing wife, and after suffering in silence decided that he couldn't go on. Russell's loss was felt so deeply by those around him, and to this day he is so dearly missed. After seeing the tragic impact of suicide from afar, and given the fact that it was technically Struan's idea, which he always reminds me of, it was a no-brainer that men's mental health was the cause that I was going to walk for. Not only as a thank you, but to carry Russell's legacy with me every step of the way. But now when people ask me why I walk for mental health, I think the answer for me cuts even deeper, because I don't just walk for Russell. Now on top of that, I walk for every single person that's ever seen these challenges as a wee light of hope, for anyone who's ever felt a bit seen because of it, or for anyone who tragically, like Struan and Fraser, has lost a loved one to suicide. I have always said that from the start of these challenges, if I ever helped even one person, all the struggle and the hardship would be worth it. So, if you're struggling, I want you to know that you're worth more than you will ever know or believe, and in times when it might not feel like it, I want you to remember that there's a kilted Scotsman who's willing to walk over 3,000 miles to remind you how valuable you are and that you're not in this alone. So that's why I walk. Thank you to Struan and Fraser for letting me share their story, and to Russell, you would be so immensely proud of each of them. To donate to the challenge, please click the link in my bio. Thank you for watching.
Societally, men right now are kind of like the really pretty person growing up who never had to develop a personality and be funny and kind and have cool passions. They were just pretty, so they didn't have to worry about all that. Except the prettiness that men have had has been entitlement and advantages for just being a man. Born a man, you have a bunch of advantages over a lot of people off the bat. You were raised to believe that if you just work hard and get a job, you're good. You deserve everything. You deserve a loving wife. You deserve a house. You deserve to feel successful and worthy. A lot of men are finding out, I have a job. Life is still really hard. I have a job, and it looks like women don't really need me for that. Like the pretty person who grows up and goes, oh, maybe I need more to myself than just my looks. Like the pretty person who had the advantage of their beauty. Men are finding out too that they have advantages for being a man, but they also have disadvantages, like not being able to be open with their expression, ask for help, not always work so hard, and be this provider. Be loved beyond value and what they give. So as a man, it might feel like your value is being diminished, but in actuality, women's value was down here, and now it's starting to creep up. Men aren't awarded as much value for just being a man as it used to be. Society made it so that women needed men for basic things that all adults should have. So now women are actual real people, and they get to choose if they want you instead of need you for basic things. That's a big shift. I forget who said this, but equality feels like oppression if you're privileged. As things continue to shift culturally and societally, outside of the patriarchal, masculine expectations of no emotion, get a job and always work, no having fun, no community and loving people, lone wolf, as all that stuff is starting to feel unsatisfying and you're not getting what you're actually looking for, it's really important that you start listening to other people besides the people saying, no, just do that harder. Just do more of that. Just win more. The pretty person in high school is growing up and they think, people aren't paying attention to me. I'm not getting what I wanted. I gotta get some sort of surgery now, or I gotta do this or that. Maybe you need to do some other things, find some hobbies, build up your personality. And so for men, I urge you, don't get mad at women. That's not gonna save you. What you need to say is, man, it's time to flesh myself out more. You might need to go on a vision quest. You might need to start exploring yourself and developing yourself in other ways besides big, strong worker guy. And if you can do that and avoid blaming the wrong people for it and just accept that, hey, this doesn't feel good, but I gotta figure it out.
Hey, I'm a public educator, and I am sounding the alarm over the nonstop brain-melting tidal wave of bullshit that is ripping the souls out of our young men at all times. And if you are in or around young men in any capacity in your life, I am begging you to listen so that you can do something about it. If you are not a young man on the internet, then some of the things I'm about to say to you might sound like I'm a space alien, because you are engaging with a very different internet than our young men are. What large corporations have figured out how to do is maximally extract wealth from young men by breeding in addiction behavior to the things that young men already tend to enjoy or think about. So for example, you're a young guy and you're playing sports for the first time. Here's sports betting. You can learn to gamble. Simply click the little buttons that verify your age is something other than it is, and then you can spend all your allowance money or your first job money betting on the sports that you were watching anyway. Curious about romantic partnerships and learning how your body feels for the first time? Here's this, so that you can just consume that all day long without ever having to navigate the interpersonal difficulties of forming a relationship or building the self-confidence necessary to approach someone that you're interested in, or learning how to practice empathy so that you can understand where other people are coming from and build an actual deep, rich relationship with another person. Nah, you can just press the good button and you'll feel good. Need advice because there aren't male role models in your life? Don't worry. Here are these rich guys who fit into a mold of masculinity that you've been told is the correct one, and they have lukewarm opinions at a 6th grade reading level on everything. And because they have no expertise whatsoever on anything, they'll just bring in a guest and nod along to whatever they're saying, even if that guest is a con artist, a crackpot, or a crank. Are you aware of yourself and your body for the first time? Trying to engage with what does it mean to fit into a masculine aesthetic that you want to embody? Don't worry, here's looks-maxing culture, so that you can cause yourself irreparable physical harm in pursuit of an aesthetic ideal that you will never achieve, because all of the people who are presenting themselves as looks-maxing gods or whatever just got cosmetic surgery and are selling you nonsense. If you are a man and you've made it this far into the video, you have homework. You are to find the young men in your life, wherever they may be, and mentor them away from this tidal wave of bullshit so that they can have a normal, healthy life and maybe not blow all their money on online crap or permanently damage their body from looks-maxing filth.